Have you ever wondered why some countries are so unwelcoming to Muslims? Despite Islam being one of the world's major religions, there are regions where Muslims face significant obstacles and restrictions. In this video, we're exploring 10 countries where Muslims encounter severe challenges in 2024. Why are these challenges so pervasive? What factors contribute to the discrimination, violence, or exclusion that Muslims experience in these places? Join us as we delve into the complexities behind the difficulties faced by Muslim communities in these regions and uncover the underlying issues at play. 1. Myanmar. Myanmar has faced severe criticism for its treatment of the Rohingya Muslim minority, who have been subjected to violence, discrimination, and displacement. The government and military have been accused of committing atrocities against the Rohingya, including ethnic cleansing and genocide. The lack of protection and recognition for the Rohingya people has resulted in a dire humanitarian crisis, forcing many to flee the country. Muslims in Myanmar, particularly the Rohingya, face systemic persecution, which underscores the broader issues of religious intolerance and human rights abuses in the country. Additionally, anti-Muslim sentiments are prevalent in Myanmar, where Buddhism is the predominant religion. The government's stance and societal attitudes have created an environment of hostility and exclusion for Muslims. Efforts to address these issues have been inadequate, leaving the Rohingya and other Muslim communities in a vulnerable and precarious situation, with little support or protection from the authorities. 2. China. China has been criticized for its treatment of Uyghur Muslims in the Xinjiang region. Reports of mass detentions, forced assimilation, and severe restrictions on religious practices have emerged, painting a grim picture of the situation for Uyghur Muslims. The Chinese government has been accused of using surveillance and re-education camps to control and suppress Uyghur identity and religious practices, leading to widespread condemnation from human rights organizations and international communities. Moreover, the Chinese government's policies towards Uyghur Muslims include restrictions on religious attire, public expressions of faith, and even family planning policies. The crackdown on Uyghur culture and religion has resulted in significant hardship for the Muslim community in Xinjiang, with ongoing human rights abuses and a lack of freedom for religious expression. If you are enjoying the video, please support us by subscribing to our channel, click the like button, and share the video. It means a lot to us. Thank you. 3. India. In India, Muslims have faced increasing challenges and discrimination in recent years. Rising Hindu nationalism and the policies of the ruling party have contributed to a climate of intolerance and hostility towards Muslims. Reports of violence against Muslim communities, discriminatory legislation, and social exclusion have become more frequent, exacerbating the difficulties faced by Muslims in the country. Additionally, legislative measures such as the Citizenship Amendment Act, CAA, have been criticized for being discriminatory towards Muslims. The act, which provides a pathway to citizenship for non-Muslim refugees from neighboring countries, has sparked widespread protests and allegations of religious bias. The combination of societal prejudice and government policies has created an environment where Muslims often feel marginalized and unwelcome. 4. Saudi Arabia. Despite being the birthplace of Islam, Saudi Arabia has faced criticism for its treatment of non-Sunni Muslims and other religious minorities. The country follows a strict interpretation of Sunni Islam, which can lead to the exclusion and marginalization of Shia Muslims and other religious groups. Shia Muslims, who represent a significant minority in Saudi Arabia, have faced discrimination, restrictions on religious practices, and limitations on their rights. Furthermore, non-Muslim religious practices are heavily restricted in Saudi Arabia. The practice of any religion other than Islam in public is forbidden, and non-Muslims are not allowed to worship openly. This restrictive environment creates challenges for both non-Sunni Muslims and non-Muslims, limiting their ability to freely practice their faith. 5. Russia. In Russia, Muslims have faced challenges related to both government policies and societal attitudes. There have been reports of discrimination against Muslims, particularly in areas with significant Muslim populations, such as the North Caucasus. Issues include restrictions on religious practices, surveillance, and occasional violence targeted at Muslim communities. Additionally, the Russian government has been criticized for its treatment of Muslim-majority regions and communities, including heavy-handed security measures and crackdowns on religious expression. The combination of governmental policies and social prejudices has created an environment where Muslims may face significant obstacles and discrimination. 6. Israel. In Israel, the treatment of Muslims, particularly Palestinians, has been a contentious issue. The ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict has led to significant tensions and challenges for Palestinian Muslims living in the occupied territories. Restrictions on movement, military operations, and settlement expansion have created difficult living conditions for many Palestinians. Moreover, there are reports of discrimination against Arab Muslims within Israel itself. Despite being citizens, Arab Muslims may face social and economic disadvantages, as well as barriers to full participation in Israeli society. The combination of conflict and internal discrimination contributes to the challenges faced by Muslims in the region. 7. Egypt. In Egypt, Muslims, particularly those from non-Sunni sects, such as Shia Muslims, have faced challenges and restrictions. The government has been criticized for its treatment of religious minorities and its crackdown on dissent, which can impact religious practices and freedoms. There have been reports of harassment and legal challenges faced by Shia Muslims and other religious groups. Additionally, societal attitudes towards Muslims from different sects and those perceived as dissenting from the mainstream Sunni orthodoxy can lead to social exclusion and discrimination. The combination of governmental policies and societal prejudices creates a challenging environment for religious minorities in Egypt. 8. Turkey. In Turkey, while Islam is the predominant religion, there have been reports of discrimination against religious minorities, including certain Muslim sects and non-Muslims. The political climate in Turkey has led to increased tensions and challenges for various religious communities. The government's policies and societal attitudes towards religious practices and minority groups can create difficulties for those who do not conform to the dominant Sunni Muslim identity. Additionally, the Turkish government's approach to religious freedoms and minority rights has been criticized for its impact on religious communities. The combination of political factors and social attitudes contributes to an environment where some Muslims and religious minorities face challenges in practicing their faith freely. 9. Azerbaijan. In Azerbaijan, the government has been criticized for its restrictions on religious freedoms, particularly affecting Muslim practices. The country's secular government has imposed regulations on religious activities, including restrictions on the wearing of religious attire and limitations on the operation of religious organizations. These regulations can impact the ability of Muslims to freely practice their religion. Furthermore, there have been reports of government crackdowns on religious groups and individuals who are perceived as challenging the secular order. The combination of governmental controls and societal attitudes towards religion contributes to a challenging environment for Muslims in Azerbaijan. 10. Bhutan. Bhutan, a predominantly Buddhist country, has a very small Muslim population. The country's religious landscape is shaped by its Buddhist traditions, and there are limited provisions for accommodating other religious practices. While the government does not explicitly ban Islam, the lack of infrastructure and support for Islamic practices reflects the country's predominantly Buddhist identity. The absence of mosques and Islamic institutions in Bhutan is a result of the small size of the Muslim community and the country's focus on preserving its Buddhist heritage. The limited presence of Muslims means that there is minimal demand for Islamic places of worship or religious accommodations, contributing to the lack of support for Islamic practices. From severe persecution and discrimination to restricted religious freedoms and societal exclusion, the experiences of Muslims vary widely across the globe. Understanding these issues is crucial in addressing the broader questions of human rights and religious tolerance. What are your thoughts on these challenges faced by Muslim communities? Share your views in the comments below. And if you found this video insightful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content exploring global issues and dynamics.